Beating Chris Joslin in a game of skate requires attacking his defensive weaknesses, winning the Rochambeau, mastering his offensive strengths, and having the ability to drown out the sound of his screaming kids. Joslin's defensive consistency is the 5th best all-time at 75.39%, and the tricks he's defending are historically 66.35% successful, which is actually over 2% easier than the average difficulty of tricks his peers are defending. Guys like PJ, Tyler, Luan, and Cody have a big positive difference in their defensive consistency versus the difficulty of tricks they're defending, which means not only are they able to avoid getting letters with strong defense, but the tricks they're defending are relatively hard, while the tricks Joslin has been defending turn out to be some of the easiest compared to the elite legacy skaters.
Damn, son.
When deciding which tricks to set, one of the easiest letters you can get on Joslin will be a tray double flip. Chris has attempted the trick 6 times and has never landed it. Some other double flip variations that trip up Joslin are the double kickflip and nollie double kickflip, both of which he's 33% defensively consistent out of 3 attempts. The fakie double kicky and switch double heel have thrown off Joslin 2 times as well out of 4 tries each, giving Chris a 50% defensive success rate on those double flip variations. Fakie hard flips are another obvious sore spot for Joslin. He's only landed 2 out of 6 on defense, and attempted 1 on offense even, but didn't land that one. So if you throw a fakie hard at Chris, the numbers say 2 times out of 3 he's getting a letter. In general, Chris is most transparently vulnerable on defense with fakie tricks, where only 59.26% of his defensive fakie attempts are makes. Apart from fakie tricks, Chris is more or less pretty evenly consistent regular and switch on defense at around 75%, but is really good at defending nollie tricks at 83%. So if you find yourself on offense against Joslin, you're statistically more than 20% more likely to give him letters with fakie tricks than any nollie tricks. Kickflip variation tricks are the least consistent type of maneuver for Joslin to defend, at 70.5%, so on paper, a combination of fakie kickflip variations might be your best bet when setting offensive tricks.
What? Bro.
In order to even be in a position to set tricks on offense against Joslin, you need to win the rock, paper, scissors. Joslin chooses paper in 69% of his first throws, rock 31.25%, and has never thrown scissors first. Chris has a 50% success rate in winning the Rochambeau, but only 31% of those wins were on the first throw. When Chris did win on the first throw, he threw paper 60% of the time and rock 40%. When Joslin lost on the first throw, he threw paper 66% and rock 33%. When Joslin ties on the first throw, his next choice is 60% paper and 40% scissors. It is worth mentioning that Joslin's first ever Rochambeau with Kevin Ramsey in Season 8 Round 1 went through 6 throws, which to the best of my knowledge is by far the most throws ever in a Rochambeau at the barracks.
Bruh.
I don't know, man.
Hold up.
The probability of tying in rock, paper, scissors one time with 2 players is 1 out of 3. And the odds of tying consecutively get smaller and smaller the more you play. So unless my calculations are way off, the chances of tying 5 times in a row is less than half of 1%. Since Joslin throws paper 69% of all his first throws, choosing scissors would probably be the safest bet, especially because Chris has never thrown scissors out the gate. So you've won rock, paper, scissors, gave Chris a couple letters from some fakie kickflip and double flip variations, but when going for the tray double death blow, you miss, and now you have to defend against Joslin. Chris has spent almost 69% of his 614 turns on offense, setting tricks, so Joslin is much more familiar with being in control of a battle than needing to defend. What defensive tricks should you have ready when skating against Chris? So Joslin is 100% consistent with over 50% of his 73 unique offensive tricks, And that same metric drops to 46.7% when you only consider the tricks he's attempted more than one time. Chris is a flat ground fundamentalist, so when you're defending against him, you should have the straight 8s and straight 16 dialed in. And above all, you better not get caught slipping on a big spin because Joslin is a big spin fanatic. Backside big spin to be specific. More so than any other trick in his offensive catalog, he has done backside big spins 15 out of 15 times in his tenure. However, going the extra mile and strategically picking Joslin's most lethal offensive tricks requires comparing Joslin's offensive consistency with the tournament's defensive consistency. Once you do that, the tricks with the biggest difference between Joslin's most consistent offensive rates versus the tournament's defense can give us an idea of where Chris gets most of his letters. At the top of that list is the backside pressure flip, where Joslin's landed the trick 2 out of 2 times and only 33% of skaters can defend it. Other tricks that a competitor against Joslin will want to practice are the cab flip, which Chris has landed 8 out of 8 times. But the trick is only 45% defensively successful. And nollie backside 360 heels as well. Joslin has a 6-for-6 record on nollie back 3 heels, but the defensive success rate for that trick is only 38.6%. It is true that Chris does have that switch front shove late flip, and no one has ever defended it, but Joslin is only 37.5% consistent with setting that trick. So it's arguably more worth your time to have the aforementioned cab flips and nollie back 3 heels before concerning yourself with what is arguably in contention for one of the worst tricks to make an appearance in the tournament. So in summary, beating Chris Joslin in a game of skate requires winning the Rochambeau by throwing scissors. Then having a strong offense that preys on his biggest defensive weaknesses using fakie kickflip variations and double flip variations, and planning on a tray double flip as the death blow, while finally making sure to be ready to defend the Hawaiian Gardens natives' offensive daggers, like the nollie back 3 heel and cab flip. Only 4 skaters can claim they beat Chris Joslin in a game of skate at the Barracks: Will Fyock, Luan Oliveira, Aurelien Giroux, and Seva Krutskov. Luan and Seva are former champions. Aurelien very likely could have won Season 12 if he committed to stay in the tournament. And Fyock, a flat ground fiend, beat Chris back in Season 8 when Joslin was still kind of deciding how serious he wanted to be about a game of skate. Long story short, Chris Joslin is not easy to beat when it comes to flat ground. Out of 16 total appearances, Joslin has won 75% of the time, and when you compare Chris to other seasoned flat ground skaters, he's tied for 6th with the all-time best win-loss record. With Week 7 completed, Joslin will face either Berger or Sonny, which statistically should end up with Chris in round 3, facing the winner of either Tyler Peterson or Sean Malto. Numbers hint that Tyler and Chris will be facing each other in round 3, which should be a good game, and if Joslin brings his children with him, Peterson might want to bring his AirPods so that he can listen to something relaxing like Yeet instead of howling toddlers.